So we did talk about last week. We were on the sixth chakra and we started reading the effects or the conditions experienced at sixth chakra. So, and then these references came about Saint Therese and Vivekananda. Like I was saying, there is a movie, Saint Therese. It used to be available on Amazon Prime. I probably watched this movie at least 4 or 5 times. Her love for Lord Jesus and how she grew into a nun, and then the Vatican recognized her as a saint. It was a wonderful life story of devotion and love. Right now, it's available for rent, but it's still worth $4 renting and watching this movie about Saint Therese. Amazing life story. So, from movement to expansion, hallmark of the sixth chakra. So, let's understand what is this movement from movement to expansion. What is movement really means, right? See, when we see these words, we need to understand and recognize that the what should I say? We should question every sentence. Sometimes, the information is right in front of us, but we don't perceive it because of our misunderstanding of things, right? So it's interesting how we look at things. It's because of the based on the context, right? There's a funny cartoon I saw yesterday. The lady is looking at a shop where it says, pants $1, shirts $1, and ladies' dresses for $4, something like that. So the lady asks the husband, bring your wallet out. In our town, all these are like at least $100. We can get it for a couple of dollars, and let's buy all of it. And the husband says, it's a laundry shop. It is not a cloth shop. You know, See how, based on the context we are looking at, it changes our perspective. Just like looking at the mistaking the laundry shop prices as if they are selling the pants and shirts, right? So depending on how we look at it, the things will change completely. So that is why it is important to wait. And the concept of meditation is to get the right perspective. Especially when things are very deep like this, it's a deep science. And this science we cannot follow just like the science of material, quantum, whatever. We cannot just follow, experience, see physically, materially, right? The physical phenomena, we cannot see it here tangibly. So to understand this, we require meditation, right? So that's why we meditate. And we should get out of this idea that meditation is for peace. We treat meditation as some kind of healing, but meditation is not that. It might, when I am at balanced state, in the state of moderation, it reflects on my physical body also. But we should not mistake meditation for medication as a healing system. Meditation is not a healing system. We have to understand that. Okay, so let's read this. In human frame, if you draw a line connecting two eyebrows, the sixth chakra is slightly above that line. As with the fifth chakra, sixth chakra blooms as a result of the work done on the higher chakra. So we do not progress linearly through the four stages of merger here. The downward flow of power to intend to permit us to linger. So that's why we are not allowed to stay on the sixth chakra, like unlike other chakras, where I assimilate, I go through the process of becoming, mastering that chakra, lack of a better word, or merge with that chakra, or blossom that chakra, or the point. And sixth, it does not happen like that. And I really like this answer which Daji gave on the point of sixth chakra. Lord Krishna asked Arjuna to meditate on the sixth chakra. Because the downward power which is coming, and as you meditate on the sixth chakra, enters the entire physical system, which gives the energy to, or strength and courage to fight the war. But here we are not fighting the wars. So we don't have to meditate on the sixth chakra. If I am a soldier going for a war, it helps meditating on the sixth chakra. But otherwise, this whole concept, oh, we say Lord Krishna said it, meditate on the sixth chakra, but we don't understand why he asked Arjuna to meditate on that chakra. So these are all essential things. So we have to go deeper, not by emotionally, just because Lord Krishna said it, I should be doing it because it's a word from the God. We should not think like that. Okay. Even like, see, yesterday I was watching a interpretation on Mahabharata, the war scene, where his own nephew, who is 16 years old, going into the war, and Lord Krishna did not do anything to protect him. He led him into the war and death. So somebody is asking question, him being the Lord, how did he not protect his own nephew? So the answer is very simple, and this I have been saying in many of my sessions that, and we also have to realize this aspect. When the God is within, the inspiration is from within. And so God is not something who is looking at our future and protecting it in the present. It does not happen like that. God never indulges into our lives. So this all these do's and don'ts which we talk about, Chariji used to say, we don't have any, in heartfulness, there are no don'ts. There are only do's. I'll tell you, when you talk about do's and don'ts, it it impacts the dynamism of life, the growth and creativity. Even the do's will impede our creativity, don'ts will impede our creativity. Do's will become a burden on our life, as much as don'ts will also become a burden on our life. So that's why the discipline, the necessity, the need must arise from within. That's why we should not look at as a meditation as something a to-do thing. It is not a to-do thing. It's the need of the life. How many times are you telling yourself that I must breathe right now? The breathing is happening very naturally. It does not require any discipline, or it does not require as a commandment, you should do it or you should not do it. There is no thou shalt do it or there is no thou shalt not do it. So in spiritual life, a true spiritual aspirant is not caught up between do's and don'ts. Both are, the more you caught up in the do's, forget the don'ts, and the don'ts become so much burden, it will bog you down, it will stop your creativity, it will stop your progress. Okay. So don't think of meditation as a discipline, recognize the need for it. When the need is recognized, automatically the required discipline happens. We don't have to force ourselves to become disciplined. So that's why the important thing to understand in the journey of spirituality is recognize the deep essence. When you recognize the deep essence, the need automatically comes in, and the discipline, also required discipline, automatically follows. It's a very natural thing. So don't burden yourself with the discipline in spirituality. Okay. Hope I make sense. So as you journey in the mind region, the grip of the ego loosens. As a result, the reactiveness in one's nature subsides and the responsiveness of the heart increases. So your humane nature leads you to the portals of the angelic realm, and your soul begins to amplify in potency in variety of ways. So the generous, so I hope this is clear. So now, as you understand, after reaching the sixth point, we entered the realms of the mind region. The mind region is very vast. There are many sub-regions in this, right? So now the in when you are in below the sixth point, we are basically, if you see all the 5 points or the opposite emotions. Emotion means a reactiveness. Now all the emotions are balanced state once you reach the sixth point. That's why the reactive nature subsides, right? Now on the responsive, so there is a reaction and response. Both are two different things. Now, instead of reacting, now we become responsive. That means we become sensitive to our inner changes. We become sensitive to our meditations. We become sensitive to the surroundings and things like that, right? So, it's very essential to recognize as these changes as we are moving towards the sixth point. So, what distinguishes human, humane, and divine life? To move from human to humane require generosity, while to move from humane to angelic necessitates selflessness and sacrifice. Now we have to understand what is selflessness. We often mistake generosity to be selflessness. Okay. And we mistake generosity and to the sacrifice. What is that we really sacrifice once you move into the divine qualities? Selflessness doesn't mean I give away all my money and stand uh, penniless and then I have to beg myself. That is not selflessness. Here, the selflessness is in every act we do. So today, I'm going to the job, for example. My role as an IT professional to code and create programs, correct? So when I am doing with the idea of the greater good, then my output of that act changes. When I'm thinking, oh, will I be getting my increments tomorrow? Will my boss recognize my work? Or will somebody recognize my work? And we get into all these reactive situations. Am I going to do a good job? will I create a code which doesn't have any defects? Things like that. When I kind of bog down myself with all these unnecessary things, then I am selfish. When I remove all these unnecessary things around, my act of doing something becomes selfless. So this selflessness has to be understood properly and correctly. I hope I am making sense, right? And what is sacrifice? Sacrificing what? And how do you sacrifice? So the sacrifice is there only when there is true understanding and love. See, just like, we are sacrificing so many things in our life to bring up and to have the harmony in the family. And this sacrifice extends to all our surroundings in the sense where I can do something extra when somebody is in need. When somebody is in need, you should, or somebody in the sense my acquaintance, friends, family, you know, whatever the colleagues, when I can stand for them in their need is a sacrifice. Means I'm basically at that point I'm sacrificing my time and I am ready to help even though it is causing me some inconvenience. That is sacrifice. Sacrifice doesn't mean I have to give away my life, right? So it's a for a soldier, dying for the nation is a sacrifice. For a soldier who is thinking he is making enough money and the perks, all the perks involved with the being in the army, if that is the only goal, then it is no sacrifice. So we have to understand this selflessness and sacrifice correctly. Because they misunderstand this selflessness, we don't know whether we are doing any act. Any act where you lose your balance cannot be selflessness or cannot be sacrifice. Recognize that. So, generosity is sharing what you have, while sacrifice is giving even when you don't have. Generosity accepts people as they are, but selflessness dissolves the distinction between people and we are all one. So that recognizing that fraternity, that we are all the children of the divine, we are all the same essence within, then it makes sense. That's why the whole concept of God creating something has put the God separate from the creation. But God manifested into this creation means God is full part and parcel of this entire creation. That's a right way to look at it. So when that essence is there in all creation, means the God manifested into this creation, then it is all God only. So that means we are all the same. When we recognize this idea, the whole aspect of looking at this world changes. See, if my son is throwing tantrums, you know, I accept it. I show patience, lot of patience, correct? Same thing when others are not behaving according to your expectation, we'll show a lot of patience and forgiveness becomes a very natural tendency when you recognize that we are all one, right? If my hand is paining, I don't cut it off and throw it, right? I'll take some pain medication. I want to fix it because it is my hand. So that if you see it that way, the selflessness extends to the entire universe. But selflessness is not about losing oneself. It is about staying in that balance, that moderation. One thing in spirituality we have to understand is all moderation. Wherever the moderation is going out of balance, that means your understanding is not right. So people with angelic qualities sacrifice without hesitation. That's why people say, I prayed and the angel helped me. While we can take inspiration from the benevolent actions of Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and other angels, I'm not talking about them. Angels don't know you and need nothing from you, yet they help you because that's what they do. So, crossing the heart region can bring about heightened sense of empathy and compassion, cultivating angelic qualities within you. If you notice a pregnant woman while walking down the street, your heart automatically sends prayer of well being for the mother and child and family. So, seeing a homeless person on a street, you feel their cold and pain, and you share the soup you brought for the lunch. So, during meditation, when someone comes to mind, your heart sends thoughts of love their way. So, none of this behavior is permitted. Your heart is in a state of flow when you do what it says and move on. So, progress in the higher realms depends on selflessness that you cultivate in your heart, and sacrifice that flows in your action. So, we'll end this here. So, any comments, observations, questions? All right.